Thursday morning, day 3 since the letter. The car is gone. For 2 weeks, someone has watched the Carter house every morning. Black sedan, dark blue car, headlights at the end of the block. Always there, always still. But this morning, nothing. And somehow, that feels worse. Marcus Carter stands at the front door at 6:50 with the folder under his arm. The folder that might prove Richard Caldwell does not legally own the building he is trying to take. Upstairs, Tyler Carter has not slept. His phone is on his desk, screen dark. Whatever one-word answer he sent to Sean last night, Deshawn has not replied. 9 hours of silence. And by the end of today, 3 things will happen. Marcus will learn the Carter house may have been stolen on paper before anyone ever knocked on their door. James Carter will be given 4 days to choose between his dignity and his job. And Gloria Carter will hear a name come through her house phone that tells her Tyler has been keeping a dangerous secret. The Carter family has been in this fight for 3 days. But the people coming for them? They've been moving pieces for years. Now the street is empty, the watchers are gone, and Marcus cannot tell if that means they stopped watching, or if they are close enough now that they do not need to hide across the street anymore. 5:15. The candle, the coffee. Gloria Carter in the kitchen before the house is awake. She went to the hall closet this morning for her coat, and she stood there longer than usual. Her hand was on the door, and the coat was in her hand, and above the coats, on the back shelf, pushed to where things go when you are not ready to deal with them, was the small wooden box with the brass latch that has been there for 11 years. She looked at it. She did not touch it. She closed the closet. But she stood there longer than she has stood there in a long time, and she's still thinking about it now, standing at the kitchen counter in the 5:15 dark, with the coffee going and the candle burning and the house quiet around her. Her mother left that box, packed it herself in the last weeks, when she still had the strength for careful things, when she still had decisions she could make and execute. She did not explain it. She said Gloria would know when to open it. That was 11 years ago, and Gloria has not known, and the box has sat on the shelf, and Gloria has opened the closet every single day for 11 years, and looked at it and closed the closet again. This morning felt different. She does not know yet why. James comes to the kitchen table with the reclassification form in his hand. Not in his coat pocket, not in the glove compartment where he put it yesterday. In his hand. He sets it on the table in front of his coffee cup, and he sits down and he looks at it. He has 4 days left to sign it. The deadline is Monday. If he signs it, he keeps the job at fewer hours and lower pay, and the health insurance that covers Gloria's prescription and Nia's specialist visits, and the particular medication that James himself has been taking since 2019 for the blood pressure that he has not told his children about. If he does not sign it, the job goes to posting, and 30 years becomes a resume line. He drinks his coffee. He looks at the form. He does not pick up a pen. Nia came into the kitchen for breakfast and saw the paper on the table in front of Grandpa. She had seen that paper before. At dinner last night, when everybody went quiet after Grandpa took it out of his pocket. She climbed into her chair and poured her cereal and watched him look at it. The paper looked like the permission slips her teacher sent home, the ones that had to be signed, or you could not go on the field trip or participate in the thing. She wondered what Grandpa would not be able to participate in if he did not sign his paper. She thought about asking, and then decided it was probably one of the things that needed more time. She put it on her list and ate her cereal. The back door opens. Destiny between shifts. 30 minutes. Work uniform from the diner still on. Nia's lunch packed and on the counter already. A cup of coffee she does not have time to finish. She kisses her mother and sits down for the few minutes she has and tells Gloria something she has been thinking about since yesterday. There's a woman at the call centre. Destiny has worked the same floor as her for 8 months without knowing much about her beyond her name, and that she takes her lunch at noon and keeps the photographs of 2 kids on her desk. Her name is Carol Ann Reeves. She's 44 years old, and last year she lost her apartment on the near west side, the one she had lived in for 9 years with her 2 children, to a Caldwell development. A lawyer came to her building in the early weeks, same as now, and told the residents they had rights and that the chain of title had problems. Carol Ann said the building had 11 families in it. 9 of them did nothing. 2 of them signed on with the lawyer. Those 2 are still fighting. Carol Ann was not one of them. Destiny tells this story quietly. The way she tells things she's been turning over and needs to say out loud to understand. Gloria listens without speaking. James looks up from the reclassification form for the first time since he sat down. The name Reeves sits in the air for exactly 1 second before the morning keeps moving. Nobody connects it to anything. It is just a name. Sometimes a name is just a name. Destiny finishes her coffee, kisses Nia, and is gone. The door closes. The kitchen is quiet. James looks back at the form. Marcus arrives at Diane Foster's office on Superior Avenue at 7:02. The lights are already on. The door is unlocked. He comes in and Diane is at her desk with the folder open and 2 documents beside it that he has never seen before. She does not say good morning. She says, sit down. He sits. She does not make him wait this time. She tells him what she found. She speaks the way she always speaks. Precisely, every word chosen, nothing wasted. The gap in the chain of title is not a clerical error. It is not a recording oversight. The bankruptcy of Sunrise Development Group in 1991 was filed under Chapter 7, which required all asset transfers, every property, every holding, to be reviewed and formally approved by a federal bankruptcy trustee before ownership could pass to any new party. She searched the federal bankruptcy court filings for the Northern District of Ohio going back to 1991. There is no trustee approval on record for the Carter building. Not a delayed approval, not a contested approval, no approval at all. Which means the transfer of that building to Caldwell Properties in 1993 passed through a chain that was never legally closed. The room is very quiet. Marcus said, "What does that mean?" Diane said, "It means Richard Caldwell may be operating on a title that was never properly conveyed to him. It means the building he is trying to evict your family from may not legally be his to evict them from." Marcus said, "Maybe." Diane said, "Maybe. This is an argument, not a verdict. Getting a judge to look at it is 18 months of litigation minimum and a very particular kind of attorney. I'm going to make 2 phone calls today. You go home and you do not say anything to anyone outside your family. Not yet." Marcus nods. He stands up. At the door, he stops. And then he looks back at the photograph on the wall behind Diane's desk. The black and white one. The street 4 blocks from his house. The row of houses that are not there anymore. He has been thinking about that photograph since yesterday. Marcus said, "That street in the photograph. Those houses. What happened to them?" Diane looked at the photograph for a moment. Diane said, "Caldwell Properties, 2014. Come back when I've made my calls." Marcus goes. He walks back to his car in the grey November morning, and he sits behind the wheel for a moment before he starts it. Diane's 2 words are still in him. 2014. Those houses, 4 blocks from the Carter house, they are not there anymore. He drives home. On the 14th floor of a building on East 9th Street, Stephen Price's office is already in motion. Price himself is not there yet. His associate is a young woman who has worked for Price for 3 years, efficient and quiet and careful in the way that Price has specifically selected for. A woman who understands that her job is to execute precisely and ask nothing. Her name is Ashley. She's holding a document that Price prepared yesterday evening after his 45-second phone call. She leaves the office at 8:15 with it in a manila envelope. The document is a formal notice of lease termination acceleration. The original letter the Carters received gave them 90 days. This new document, filed under a provision in the original lease that the Carter family almost certainly never read, in a provision that allows the landlord to accelerate the timeline in the event of what it calls a dispute initiation, reduces that timeline to 60 days. 60 days from today. Ashley delivers it to the Carter Building's management office at 8:37 in the morning. It will be in the Carter family's mailbox by end of business. She walks back to her car. She does not think about the family whose timeline she just reduced by 30 days. She has 3 more deliveries before noon. At the Lakeside Industrial Plant on Nottingham Road, James Carter is at machine number 7 when Frank Dubois comes and stands beside him for the 2nd day in a row. Frank looks different today. Not the bounded discomfort of a man delivering bad news. Something more private than that. It is the look of a man who's been carrying something since this morning and has decided he cannot keep carrying it alone. He leans in close enough that the floor noise covers his voice. Frank said, "Someone in HR asked me this morning if you'd said anything about a lawyer. I want you to know I told them no. I told them you hadn't said anything to me about anything." James keeps working. His hands do not stop. His face does not change. James said, "I appreciate that, Frank." Frank said, "I'm telling you because I thought you should know they're asking. That's all I'm telling you." Frank walks away. James does not watch him go. When he keeps his eyes on the machine and his hands doing what they have done for 22 years. And he breathes the way a man breathes when he has just received important information and has decided to receive it quietly. They are asking about a lawyer, which means they know Marcus went to see one, which means the notebook in the car across the street was not just watching, it was reporting. Marcus comes home at noon and tells the family what Diane found. He is careful about it. He explains it the way Diane explained it to him. The Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the trustee approval requirement, the missing record, the gap that is not an oversight but an absence. He explains what an argument is, and what a verdict is, and why they are not the same thing. He explains 18 months of litigation, and he does not make it sound better than it is. He does not make it sound worse. Gloria sits with her hands in her lap. She listens to all of it the way she listens to everything. Completely. without interrupting, without her face giving away what she's thinking until she has finished thinking it. James sits across from his son and listens with his eyes on the table. Not the tablecloth, the table itself, the wood of it, the surface he has been sitting at for 31 years. When Marcus finishes, James does not say anything immediately. The kitchen is quiet, the candle is burning. Outside, Cleveland does what it does. Grey, patient, indifferent. Then James stands up. He does not say anything. He walks to the kitchen counter. He opens the junk drawer, the one next to the stove that Gloria has been meaning to organise for 6 years. The one with the rubber bands and the take-out menus and the dead batteries and the birthday candles from 3 different years and the expired pizza coupons and a measuring tape that lost its spring and a pen that still works. He reaches past all of it to the back of the drawer and finds the pen. He walks back to the table. He picks up the reclassification form. He looks at it for a long moment. The whole table watches him. Gloria's hands are still in her lap. Marcus has stopped breathing in the particular way people stop breathing when they are watching something that is about to go one of 2 ways. James sets the form back down on the table, unsigned. He sets the pen on top of it. James said, "Not yet." 2 words. The kitchen holds them. Gloria exhales slowly through her nose. Marcus looks at his father, and then at the unsigned form, and then at his father again. James sits back down. He picks up his coffee cup. He drinks from it. If you need to know whether this family finds a way to hold on, subscribe to Life in America. A new episode every single day. This family is not done yet. Gloria gets up to get the mail. She comes back with 3 envelopes. 2 of them she sets to the side without looking at them. The third one she looks at for a moment before she sets it on the table next to the reclassification form and the pen. It is from Caldwell Properties. Different from the first one, thicker, a different department listed in the return address. The same blue ink. Nobody opens it. The table looks at it the way you look at something you already know is bad news. The specific stillness of people who have had enough bad news in 3 days to know that one more envelope does not change what they have decided. James looks at it. He looks at the pen. He looks at the unsigned form. Gloria sits back down. She does not open the envelope yet. She puts her hands flat on the table. And then she says, without looking up, in the particular tone she uses when she already knows the answer and is giving the person across from her the opportunity to tell the truth on their own. Gloria said, "Deshaun Reeves called the house phone today. Tyler, looking for you." The table goes still in a different way than it went still a moment ago. Not the still of shared decision, the still of a secret finding the air. Tyler does not move. His hands are on the table and they do not move, and his face does not change, but something behind his face changes in the way that things change when a door you thought was closed turns out to have been open the whole time. Tyler said, "Mama." Gloria looks at him. Just that. She looks at him the way she's been looking at this boy for 19 years. Through whatever he is showing her, all the way to what is actually there. Gloria said, "We'll talk later." She picks up the Caldwell envelope. She opens it. She reads it. She sets it down. Gloria said, 60 days. They changed it to 60 days. The Carter family has been in this house for 31 years. They just lost 30 days. They did not know they had. The back door opens without a knock. Rosie Washington comes in carrying a brown accordion file folder under one arm and a jar of something under the other. He sets the jar on the counter. Pickled okra, Ruth Ann's recipe, the last jar from this summer's garden. And he sets the accordion file on the table and says he figured he might as well bring it tonight, since he was coming over anyway. He has been calling it a box for 2 days, but it is not a box. It is a brown accordion file, overstuffed, held shut with a thick rubber band that has been on it so long it has left a permanent crease in the cardboard. He looks around the table. He reads the room the way he always reads it. One sweep, complete comprehension. Rosie said, "What happened?" Gloria tells them about the 60-day letter. James tells them about Frank and the HR question about a lawyer. Marcus tells them about Diane's 48 hours and the trustee approval gap and the 2 phone calls she is making today. Rosie listens to all of it. He picks up the new Caldwell envelope. He reads the letter inside. He folds it carefully and puts it back. Rosie said, "Ruth Ann used to say that when people start moving paperwork faster, it means they got scared. Scared people make mistakes." James almost smiles. The second time in 3 days. Same territory as last time. Not quite a smile. The land just before it. Marcus picks up the accordion file. He slides the rubber band off. He opens it. Inside, a thick stack of papers from 1989. A property dispute correspondence. Letters. A survey document. 2 legal filings. Never completed. And at the top, a cover letter on the letterhead of a company called Midwest Heritage Properties. Marcus goes still. He has seen that name before. Midwest Heritage Properties. He saw it 3 weeks ago in the Cuyahoga County Recorder's database when he was building the folder that is now sitting in front of him on this table. Midwest Heritage Properties was the parent company of Sunrise Development Group, the company whose 1991 bankruptcy created the gap in the Carter Building's chain of title. The same company that, in 1987, managed the pension fund that James Carter's father lost everything in. He sets the cover letter down carefully. He starts going through the rest of the papers. Rosie is talking, explaining the dispute, a fence line argument between his neighbour and the property company that went on for 2 years and went nowhere. A small thing, the kind of thing that seems absurd in retrospect. He is describing Ruth Ann's opinion of the fence and the neighbour's opinion of the fence and the property company's opinion of the fence. And Marcus is barely hearing any of it because he is reading. James is watching Marcus's face. He's been watching it since Marcus picked up the cover letter. He's seen Marcus's face change that way before. The specific stillness of a man reading something that is connecting to something else. A door opening in the back of a room you thought was a wall. James said, "Marcus." Marcus looks up. James said, "What is it?" Marcus doesn't answer immediately, and he reaches into the accordion file and finds what he was looking for. An envelope at the very bottom, small, white, still sealed. The paper has gone soft at the edges from 34 years in a filing cabinet, but the seal is intact. The return address is Midwest Heritage Properties. It is addressed to Rosie's neighbour. It is dated November 1989. It has never been opened. Marcus sets it on the table between himself and his father. Rosie stops talking about the fence. He looks at the envelope. He frowns. Rosie said, "I forgot that was in there. Eddie never opened it. said he didn't want to read anything from those people. Then he moved to Columbus in '92 and left half his filing cabinet in my garage, and I never got around to... Marcus said, Rosie, this might be important. The table looks at the envelope. The sealed envelope from a company that connects the Carter family's pension loss to their building's chain of title to a property dispute on Rosie Street 34 years ago. Marcus said, Diane needs to see this first, before anyone opens it. He puts the envelope carefully back in the accordion file. He closes it. He puts the rubber band back on. He sets it beside his own folder on the table. Rosie looks at the accordion file, then at James, then at Marcus. Rosie said, You think that's something? Marcus said, I think that might be everything. Late night. Rosie has gone home with instructions to call his old neighbour Eddie in Columbus tomorrow morning. James is in the bedroom, light off. On the way James goes to bed. Early, quietly, without ceremony, Marcus is at the kitchen table with both folders open in front of him, the original and Rosie's accordion file, going through everything again with a yellow legal pad and a pen that works. Nia has been asleep for 2 hours. Destiny is at the call centre. Gloria is washing the dinner dishes. Tyler is sitting at the kitchen table. He has been sitting there for 20 minutes, watching his mother wash dishes, working up to something. Gloria has not looked at him. She has washed the same pot twice. She knows he is there. She knows what is coming. She has known what was coming since she saw the look on his face this afternoon when she said Deshaun Reeves's name out loud at the dinner table. Marcus looks up from his folders. He looks at Tyler, and he looks at Gloria's back. He closes his folders. He picks them up and takes them upstairs without a word. The kitchen door closes behind him. Gloria turns off the water. She dries her hands on the dish towel, the way she has dried her hands her whole life. Methodically, each finger, the back of each hand. She hangs the towel on the oven handle. She sits down across from her youngest son. The candle is still burning. The kitchen is quiet. The house around them is the house it has always been. 31 years of mornings and dinners and homework and arguments and the specific smell of Gloria's cooking and the specific sound of James's key in the front door, and every birthday and every Christmas and every ordinary Tuesday that became the fabric of a family's life. Tyler looks at his mother. Gloria looks at her son. Tyler said, Mama, I need to tell you something. Gloria puts her hands flat on the table. She waits. Tyler opens his mouth. Outside, the street is quiet. The neighbourhood is dark. The Carter house sits on Drexel Avenue the way it has sat for 31 years. Ordinary from the outside. A light in the kitchen window. The particular warmth of a house where people are still awake and still talking. A house that looks from the street like any other house on any other block in any other working city in America. From inside that light, a 19-year-old boy is telling his mother the truth about something she has been waiting for him to tell her. Gloria Carter raised 3 children in this house. She learned early that you cannot make a child ready. You can only stay ready yourself and wait and be there when they finally find the courage. She's been ready for this conversation since the morning she watched Tyler say yes, Mum, and let her hug him. And she felt in the way that mothers feel things that the hug was covering something he was not ready to say. That was 2 days ago. She lit the candle this morning. She will light one tomorrow. She's listening now. Some things you cannot rush.